How's it going, everybody? This is Brian Funk. I've got a brand new free Ableton Live pack for you. And these sounds all come from Ben Burns' tongue drum. Ben has just released a sample pack of his new tongue drum, which is available for free download during the month of March 2020 if you use the code TONGUE. Otherwise, it's going to be, I think, $3, $2.99. Still a great value. He sent me these samples and let me make some instruments out of it. Ben is a friend of mine. We've worked together on things. He's been on the Music Production Podcast not once as my first guest ever, but again back in October. So he's been on twice, and he's a great guy to talk to. He's a really prolific artist. He's got a great work ethic. You can see his video about the tongue drum, and that's all on his website. I have links in the description and in the pack. But let's check out some of the instruments that I've made here. So, the first one you just heard me playing was just called the tongue drum. And I used a few of his samples, and they are inside of Ableton's sampler here. Now, there's a couple samples per note, and the sampler is actually switching between the sample that gets selected. So every time you play a note, it sounds slightly different. One of two samples is playing back, and it plays back randomly. So it doesn't give you this like machine gun type of sound. You can really hear the difference if I put on my repeat button here. And I'll turn off this LFO that's randomizing it. Now we're getting the same sample every time. And now we're getting alterations randomly. It just gives it a little more life. It's nice. A little more life and character compared to this, which is the same note every time. All right, so on this particular sound, you've got control over your attack, so you can make this come in more like a pad. And you've also got control over your release, so these could cut off nice and quick if you prefer. We've got a filter. If you want to mellow it out a little bit, there's control over the resonance. There's a delay that I'm calling memory. And there's control over the speed of your memory and the time for how long your memory lasts. At 95%, it lasts almost forever. And then there's one final secret control called dream state. And it gives it this kind of like dreamy vibe that I think sounds pretty cool. So this is the first one. It's kind of like your standard tongue drum sound. Then when we move over, we've got a reversed version of that instrument, which is really nice. And those samples play back in reverse, which I think is super cool. Again, you've got like a delay and the dream state and the filter. You can have some fun with those controls. We move over to the third instrument, and now we have a pad. It's filtered down a little bit. We could brighten it up if we like. Very nice sound there. And finally, we have one called Tongue Pulse. And this gives us a rhythm. We've got a pulse amount control, which we could turn all the way down. And then we've essentially got the other sounds. But if we turn it all the way back up, we can play around with the speed of our pulsing. And the shape that we have. I encourage you to experiment with these to figure out what works best in your music. What we're really controlling here is the volume LFO. So I'm changing the shape here, and the speed, and the amount. Really like this one a lot. I decided to make this a non-synced LFO so you could smoothly change the values. Because I kind of intended this instrument to be like controlled by hand as you use it. And then you've got your filter, you've got your delay, and you've got your exciting dream state. And that's the pack, the Ben's Tongue Drum sample pack that you can get at Ben's site, or the free Ableton Live pack with these 4 instruments that you can get from my site. So definitely check out Ben's work. He does a lot of really cool stuff. He's always on Twitch streaming live, doing music production in a 2-hour challenge, which I think is super impressive. And he's putting out a sample pack every month, so you want to check those out. Thanks so much for watching. Head over to brianfunk.com to get these sounds, and I will see you soon. Take care.